Check, check, testing, 1, 2, 3. Check, check, testing, 1, 2, 3. Alright, just gonna do a bit of link sharing, and then we got some metallics to paint. Okay, that's about it. I'll lower the screen now. And I do have a fully loaded can of Coke Zero ready to go, so let's start the burp counter on a clean slate. See how we can do today. I think we'll definitely set a new record. Alright, we're painting some Household Guard for starters here. I got a big batch of 100 Kingdoms minis. It isn't all just these halberd wielders. There's a lot more. But, you know, it's a large enough group that there's batches within the batches. And I think we need to tidy up the gold and then dry brush the gold, then we'll do the silver. Hello Country Fried Minis and Sugar Candy Miniatures, thank you for coming. And hello another Nate as well. Hope you're having a good one yourself. Alright, and I call this gold, but it's actually Vallejo model color bronze, so a bit of a misleading name there. And just a little warm in here. I gotta unbutton this jacket thing. I bet you do, Country Fried Minis. Who could forget Vallejo model color bronze? But only real ones know the power of model color burnt umber, am I right? Here we go. Model color bronze. Alright, I can feel my throat is a little dry, so we're gonna go ahead and crack our burp fuel. Hopefully that crack was nice and crispy. Alright. Burnber. Burnt umber, also known as burnber. Well, this one's requiring a bit of vigorous shaking. And of course not using a wet palette, so I don't want to squirt too much out. Oh dear, my camera's doing something weird. Alright, let's try and unplug it and plug it in again. Looks like it's a problem with, not with the camera. Okay, let's open up the source. Okay, I fixed it. I hit him with the good old turn him on and off again, you know what I'm saying? Alright, and we can use a fairly robust brush for this, I suppose. Could maybe use something a bit messier, just for the sake of keeping the nice brushes nice longer. There we go, burp one. Alright, let's get to using this paint here. This is like really early in the painting process. I'm using a pretty crappy brush that doesn't have much of a tip, because there ain't that much to paint around other than like the basing. I just gotta be careful there, but because I have dry brush and wash the bases, hence why I need to clean up the gold, especially around it's mostly just gonna be around the shins and stuff. And I believe part of the strap of the feet becomes silver, yeah. And yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna pay much attention to to areas of gold to clean up that aren't around the legs right now, because they're really low chances of there being any others. I mean, there will be eventually when I inevitably make mistakes and need to go, like, just clean up spots. But, you know, that'll be for the cleanup stage. Is anyone else doing any tabletop hobby related activities tonight, or just neat hobby activities of any hobby in general? I might have to grab some more reference models later so I can remember what color I painted the backs of the capes that are slightly different between some of them. Oh, it snowed. Yeah, it snowed pretty heavily recently. Sugar candy miniatures. Well, I guess I can call you Fiverr. Editing is short, nice. And blending, that's fun. How much did you get? A lot of snow, Fiverr? Recently, there was like there was one big deluge of snow, and then it warmed up for like the past day or two, so it's gotten a little slushy. It's about that time of year. I'm still toughing it out like a proper Canadian and walking to work, though. It's like, it's only minus 19 after the wind chill. I can just grind it out. Yeah, I can imagine you get a decent amount of snow where you're at. But I still think I probably... Maybe where I'm at in Canada isn't as, like, humid, so maybe we won't get as much volume of snow, but I think we got colder winters. I think I'm gonna take that brag for myself there. Oh, there we go, burp too. We're back to burping, people. That's right, country fried minis. I know what the people want. Yeah, I gotta remember to check the backs of the capes more. Because there are some metallic details. They got some brown on them, probably, that need to be touched up. I mean, that double feature is just as hype as Barb and Hybor. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, I hope the weather respects the weeb that needs to be satiated with the sick double feature. Okay, I painted those silver on the other ones. I remember that. I don't remember what this was painted, but we're gonna put some gold on it. There's at least a bit of gold on this one from what I can remember. Problem with painting these halberds is that their halberds stick out so much, so it's really easy to accidentally knock them over. I mean, obviously the poses where their halberds are being held a bit more vertically aren't as bad, but the ones where it's kind of pointed out in front of them, I sure knock them over a lot, let me tell you. Alright. Well, I mean, if the weather doesn't respect you, you should either, unless it's actually dangerous, you know, they just gotta let the power of anime give you the strength to trudge it through the snow. Also, that was burp 3. Alright, now we're gonna grab this here radiant platinum, mix it in with the gold that's on there right now, and dry brush this metal. I find this radiant platinum a bit of a temperamental paint, but I've used it for dry brushing golds a lot, and it's still been good. I'm not gonna seek out a similar product when this one runs out, but I have gotten a lot done with it over the years. I think we need just a bit more. The bus system, yes. Yeah, there at the start of the big snowfall in my area, there was just all over the subreddit for my city, which I don't actually use Reddit. My partner just showed this to me afterwards. There's just endless pictures of buses being stuck. Yeah, you don't want to throw hands with the weather. Excuse me. Okay. Got our old crusty makeup brush now. Wipe it off on the paper towel, which I'll show here for demonstration's sake, and let's see if this was mixed bright enough. Yeah, that's alright. I think I just need to be a bit more, or be applying more paint on. Yeah, this is acceptable just for these additional grunts I'm painting. Perhaps, okay, now that I'm applying more of it, it's looking just about right. You can maybe see that this guy's arm is actually loose at the shoulder. Guess the glue connection points weren't too good. Whoa, I just brushed his head off. Alright, let's fix that later. Or I'll fix that when I don't have to worry about this paint drying up. Well, that makes painting the shoulders a bit easier. It's funny, that happened as I was talking about the connection point being weak at the shoulder. I guess it was weak at the head more. Also, that's burp 4. Dry brushing first, then I'll update the counter. Alright, we gotta do this part a little bit. It's not super important, but might as well while we're here. Deodorant and new paper tubes. I've been watching, borderline binge watching The Expanse, Fiverr. I kind of started watching it on a whim on Amazon Prime because I knew there was some books, and yeah, I hadn't really heard much other than that. But I've ended up really enjoying it. It's been a while since I've watched a a solid hard sci-fi, you know. And I think that's the only real show I've been watching. I did enjoy Predator Badlands recently in terms of films. I saw Tron Ares for the meme, and it was nice to see it in theaters for the bump in soundtrack and visuals. That's about it. It's like, yeah, much like Tron Legacy is carried by the soundtrack. What about you? I take it you're just probably in, or a while ago you were in maximum Chainsaw Man hype mode, and now you're in maximum Jujutsu Kaisen hype mode. And if I wasn't painting like such a large number of these dudes, because, you know, rank and flank games, I could also do some like dry brush highlighting for the silvers. But for these grunts, that's not necessary. So we're just getting a quick and dirty dry brush done now, and then we're just going to selectively bring out some other metallic details with silver. Then we'll apply our metallic wash. These guys have a lot more like actual metal armor. So with the men at arms, I like paint the metallics, then do the base colors and wash. But with these ones, not quite as necessary. Maybe for the blue, it does warrant it a bit. Point is, we're getting this metallic stuff done before we switch back to the wet palette. And you know, when you're not doing paint, even though I don't need the wet palette right now because I'm doing metallics and dry brushing, I still miss it. That's just how much I love using a wet palette. Nice, I'm glad that the animu's been treating you well. Me and my friend have been watching the anime adaptation of the Scott Westerfield YA novels, Leviathan. Which I was like, I don't remember when the news first came out, but when I found out that like these are YA books, Dieselpunk alternate history YA books that I thought were fairly obscure, we're getting like a Netflix anime. Ooh, missed some silver or some gold up here. We're gonna have to touch that up later, I think. Oh, but only on one side. I wonder how noticeable that would be if I just leave it. Just as a test. Alright, gotta mix some more. That might be too much. Let's just scoop some out of the palette there. That's right, that's how it works, Country Fried Minis. Alright, did I mix in too much bronze? Don't think so. So many of my minis are full of little Easter eggs like that. By Easter eggs, I mean mistakes that keep me awake at night. Not really, though. Burp. 5. Brush has borderline too much paint on it. You know, that's why you do the wash after, or that's why I do the wash after. Kind of can compensate for over dry brushing a bit, I find. I just knocked a halberdier over. Sorry, a household guard, I should say. Yeah, I kind of have to support the head of the halberd as you dry brush it so you don't accidentally bend it broken or anything. Yeah, applying this heavy of a dry brush to the gold does make it a bit less vibrant, but I find once the armor wash is applied, it's just like the right amount of like kind of a muted, like, you know, it's not like a Stormcast Eternals army, but it's like something that's a bit, stands out a bit from just the usual like silver metal armor. Alright. Before I move on to the silver, I'm going to quickly glue that head back on. I just gotta remember to set that in a separate area to dry first and do it last. Yes, needed depth, exactly. Alright, there's the head. There's the headless guard. You can see it's just kind of like a hollow cavity. This is like one of their first generation model kits, so it could be optimized a bit better. But it's for a first generation Conquest model kit. It still looks pretty cool. You know, it's a bit of a meme how annoying this kit is to assemble for like just the way the halberd arms fit together. But it's not the worst thing I've had to build for Conquest. Alright. No, the silvers in my collection are low. I've just got like 2 similar silvers that look close enough. It's fine to use them across my 100 Kingdoms army together, and they're just both like almost empty. So we got the old game color gunmetal and the old army painter plate mail metal. I think gunmetal is slightly less in the bottle, so we're gonna aim to use up that one first. Halberd arms. Oh, did you see how that paint's just exploding out of there? Damn. Okay. Hello, Mr. Squarepeg. I'm working on some 100 Kingdoms infantry. There's a bunch on the desk, but right now I'm working on the halberd ones specifically. They're called Household Guard. Alright, let's just gotta swish off this dry brush a bit more. Probably give it a proper rinse in the sink after. Oh, burp. Burp 6. We made it halfway to 10, or past halfway. Alright, where's the brush I want to be using? We need a bit more control now. We're still going to use a brush that's a little ratty. This is from an old D&D paint set. It's a synthetic base coating brush. And yeah, this is why I have the reference mini out, because I need to kind of remember which details get picked out with the silver. It's like the knee pads and part of the feet armor. Let's put that guy over there. And of course, you know, the blades of the polearm. Which, they're big and flat, so sometimes need 2 coats. And this is one area where maybe after the wash I give it a highlight of some kind. Because, you know, it is the blade part of the weapon. Could use a bit of a highlight to make it sharper. And yeah, this provides like just enough color separation, because especially after adding the dry brush to the gold, it, you know, moves on the slider towards silver a bit, and then putting it next to a silver means it, like, from a distance reads as a fairly cohesive set of armor, but then get a bit closer and you can see there's a bit of color separation going on. And, you know, tiny mistakes along the edges, especially after the wash, like, a lot of them don't even need to clean up, really. Yeah, only having one reference mini nearby is, like, slightly annoying, because they don't all have the same kind of armor sculpting. But, you know, there's enough of these dudes, I mean, they shouldn't all be exactly the same. So we can switch it up a bit here and there. We are definitely doing the knee pads, though. Alright. Got a hair stuck on there. That's the other thing. These have been primed for a while, so gotta like blow them off for dust a bit, almost. I've played a lot of games with them. They've seen lots of use, as they've just been in like the based and airbrushed stage for a while. It's like I've been pretty good over the last year of like getting through a lot of the Conquest backlog, with the exception that I just keep stopping once things get to the based and airbrushed part. Thanks, Mr. Squarepeg. It's a nice eclectic mix of some electronic ambience and classical music, all provided by the YouTube audio library. But curated by me. That made a bit of a mistake with the trim there, but again, it's a mistake I might just leave for the wash to take care of, you know? Much of the waste bits. Okay, a bit of it. You know, this I can get away with being a little sloppy on the edges here because the colors aren't too contrasty with each other. This is the kind of mindset you need to be in when painting multiples of the same mini like this. And what do we do on the hands? Okay. And one of the nice parts about this kit, which is also makes it a bit more challenging, is that like there's a lot of variation between the shoulder pads on them. Some of them are pretty like intricate with a lot of recesses for wash to go into. Some of them are like just involve a lot of big smooth panels. I think I do need to paint these little elbow plates, the silver as well. And of course, all across this model kit with those variations in shoulder pads, the left shoulder pad is always like the much more visually interesting one. Like, you know, this one's got a skull on it, this one's got like the kind of gate knocker sun face. It's pretty cool, I think. Think we could use a second coat up here. I think I just need to do the trim of the shoulder pad here. Yeah, this batch of 100 Kingdoms I'll be working on over the winter. There are a few kit bashes and kind of standout minis that I'll put a bit more effort into, but a lot of them it's just like getting through a bunch more grunts of units I've already painted that I'm just like adding reinforcements to, so let's not spend too much time here. The time is the most precious resource. Burp 7. Very exciting, I'm sure, for all of you. Gonna need to put more silver on the palette soon, but not yet. Kind of just reactivating it with water between each mini seems to be doing the trick at the moment. Although I am kind of reactivating it with water a bit every time I go swish off the brush and then go to refill it. Oh yeah, this one I missed a bunch of bronze on it as well. We're definitely gonna have to go back and fix that one. Not right now though, because it's silver time. But it means I don't have to be super clean when painting this blade. I'm a bit fearful for my productivity this week as there's some new Total War Warhammer 3 DLC coming out on the 5th, I believe. But like I was saying last stream, I'm gonna aim for at least 2 streams a week minimum. Hopefully more. Roughly between 2 and 4, I'll say. Tentatively planning to do another one tomorrow night. And then I believe what I mentioned before was, yeah, it'd be like Mondays, Tuesdays, and then in the evening, and then Fridays or Saturdays during the day. Hello, Hugo Itano. Yeah, metering out time. That's an interesting way to put it. Also, if anyone watching the stream is unfamiliar with Country Fried Minis, they got a real nice YouTube channel that you should go check out. some good humorous mech and other interesting miniature painting content to be found over there. Yeah, just about time for some more paint. I want to say I have enough to last for this many though. You're very welcome, Country Fried Minis. And thank you for being a regular watcher of my streams, as well as some of your kind audience members. Yeah, the crossbones on this shoulder pad kind of awkwardly blends into the model, but getting a bit of the silver paint on there can help make this shape a bit more distinct. I'm just seeing this is like a massive nub I left on the back of the arm. I'm gonna have to clean that up. This one also has the gold that needs to be repainted. So we're gonna set this one aside next to the one with the glue that's drying, but I might as well finish all the color separation I need to do on this. All the stuff I can do anyways. Oh, is that burp 8 now? Is that burp 8 in it? Yes, it was. Yeah, I can see that happening a lot with print supports. Alright, more paint on the palette is what we need now. Squirt it out, a little dribble there. Oh, my computer sunshade to prevent the lamp from making glare is starting to encroach onto the screen. And alright, that should fix it. There's a loose strand. The brush here, I should just Okay, I yanked off the glomp of paint that was on there. But the stray bristle is kind of just sticking out, having a party. Now this classical music is extra fitting to the minis being painted now. All the last previous streams since coming out of hiatus for all the flashpoint stuff. Oh man, the visor is really getting in the way. Okay, hopefully that stays for a bit. But you know, when painting this medieval, or almost Renaissance palace guard, maybe Renaissance isn't the right word, I'm just showing my pike and shot warfare era bias. Point is, it goes better with the classical music than the flashpoint stuff. You know, you gotta pair the music with the minis being painted sometimes. Which I'm not really doing because it's the same stream background music playlist as always. We'll update it. Try and update it, you know, like biannually. No promises though. And with that, we're on to the electronic ambience again. Hey, if the playlist works, no shame in, you know, going the easy route and just hitting the same playlist every stream. I feel like that's probably what most people do. Burp 9. Is that Burp 9? Yeah, okay. I feel like I can hit at least the double digits tonight. Camera just needed a little reset there. Yeah, and much in my reflection of my ability not... my lack of ability to speed paint things. I don't have to paint the trim on the armor like this. It's like I'm choosing a fairly hasty way to paint it, which is, you know, speed painting adjacent. But true speed painting would probably be like maybe like one single area where I pick out the trim, but that's it. Yeah, even though there's a lot more metallics to do for other minis on the desk right now, but I think for variety's sake, when I'm done the silver on this batch of, what, 7 Household Guard I got in front of me, I need to, like, switch to some blue or something. I'll have to check the reference one though, and there might be a few just recessed areas that I should be painting first. This poster tack is proving inadequate. Gotta smush it down harder. Yeah, for this chest in particular, it's kind of just like a pseudo dry brush of just like, yeah, hitting the raised bits of the armor, then calling it a day. You know, the pole is being held in front of a lot of the detail anyways. Alright, another one down. Been streaming for an hour now. My force missing? I mean, like... Oh yeah, this kind of has bits I didn't clean up well enough either. My 100 Kingdoms collection, there's like a certain sub-faction of the army that has the more fancier knights on horses that I haven't collected a ton of. But my 100 Kingdoms collection in general, I've got enough stuff that I can build a solid like 3 to 4 different army lists, which I'm pretty content with for the time being, especially considering I have 2 other armies that are like assembled and playable. One of them having like a pretty solid amount of painting done, that one being my spires. The Nords like are assembled and been playing with them a lot, but not really painted any of them. Burp 10. And then I got the city-states, but they're not playable yet. They're not ready. Alright, we've made it to the double digits. We hit 10 burps, people. Well, one thing about miniature war games is that, I mean, once they're at a certain size, your force will always be missing something, because there's always some new shiny regiment to be added. That's the secret about wargaming army projects. They're never really done. Except sometimes when they are. Apparently some people do that. Not I, though. Most of my armies are in like a perpetual state of work in progress. You know, it makes it so the fun never ends. Oh, I made spaghetti today, and then I ate a bunch of it, and I'm not gonna lie, it's making me feel a little eepy right now, just painting while being spaghetti maxed. Perhaps we'll only barely make it to 2 hours for the stream tonight, we'll see. The important part is that the stream happens in the first place. Some of the faceplates on the I guess these are the Gilded Legion heads technically. Some of the faceplates are a little derpy, not gonna lie. I think that, I mean, that one needs a bit more paint on the halberd, but the body's done. Zucchini, onion, hot peppers, lots of garlic, Roma tomatoes, long cook it down. Pan frying the cooked noodles in hot oil and spooning in the sauce. Oh yeah, that's a fancy technique you got going there. Frying the noodles. Works pretty well with the leftovers too. Sorry, I just dropped something there. Yeah, before I put more paint on the palette, I should probably fix the mistakes on this one. We need the hobby knife. There is this one. Yeah, this one. There's some nubs on the blade I didn't quite do an adequate job on, so let's just take care of this now before we put even more paint on it. Pretty annoying nubs to clean up on these blades, not gonna lie. First generation model syndrome strikes again. Alright, now this guy just has the massive nub on the arm that was never clipped off. Oh, that came off pretty easy, actually. Oh, now it's stuck behind the cape. Okay, it fell down somewhere. Alright, just carve that down a tiny bit now. Alright, now I need to grab just a little bit of monocolor bronze for cleanup purposes. I don't think I'll bother mixing the highlight color again. The areas aren't really going to be visible enough to need that. And yeah, the tone and the metallics here will be a little inconsistent by applying this part after, but it's not gonna be noticeable enough, I think, so I ain't even worried. Okay, and then no, it was also this one. Gonna add like a little bit in there. Oh, we gotta wipe away the plastic shavings though first. Get out of there. Alright, give those a minute to dry while we refill the silver on the palette. Can you relate, Country Fried Minis? I mean, it's better that I clean them up now in the base coating stage. I'm only peeling one layer of paint, plus I guess primer. Alright, that one can go in the actual finished pile now, and I believe so can this one. Alright, I can do just the silver on 3 more, and then I think I'm gonna switch to blue. A much more entertaining color to paint, I find. Some gold mix, that sounds fun. Damn, we need more silver on the palette already. This bottle of game color was it chainmail metal or gunmetal? Gunmetal. I use it so often and I've had it for so long. It's surprising it's lasted this long, but almost every time I'm using it, it's for something that doesn't use a lot of color, just like a single sword or knife blade, some buckles, like a chain. You always want to have a good silver on hand in your mini painting arsenal. Burp 11. Let's go. Oh, we're coming off the poster tack a bit. Now that's some tranquil paint music, if you ask me. Thinking about your gold mechs remind me of some Instagram reel or something I saw. The guy was electroplating some Custodes minis. It's like a kind of, I don't know how to describe the process, but they ended up in like a very, very shiny metallic gold. I imagine for some of the old school Battletech minis, I feel like someone out there has probably just like cast one in gold and just had like a solid hunk of metal, shiny metal, urban mech or something. I feel like that's something some hobbyist out there's done. Yeah, naturally I'm too busy painting to look these things up now. It does sound fun. Yeah, and if any of you got advent calendars this year, you can open them now because it's December 1st. That was an exciting revelation I had this morning because I had a little chocolate behind a door I could grab. Because I'm an adult, I trust myself to not just eat all 24 chocolates or whatever like I wanted to as a kid, you know? Let's do some more on the halberd, and then we'll call this one silver done. We got two guys with the weird door knocker shoulder pad in this batch. Or no, the example one has it. Oh, no, and there's two. One of the more characterful bits from the set. Or bits with more character, perhaps I should say. Painting the bits of cloth in between the, like, ring is pretty annoying. I know it's coming though, this time at least. Another very exciting notification that Creative Cloud has an update. Woo. I assume my PC notification noise transferred over to the stream there. Do you ever, like, you're watching a YouTube video and it's just like some YouTuber recording in OBS, but they have Discord open, so then you hear the Discord ping in their video and you think it's yourself getting a Discord ping? Our water has a nice metallic shimmer to it right now. Yeah, I'll see how many 100 Kingdom streams I get through before I'm like, alright, switching gears back to Halo for a bit, and then we'll just hop between 100 Kingdoms and Halo, perhaps some Harefoot jousting. I think I gave a brief preview of those a few streams ago. You've seen the stream thumbnail made for those ones if you check Patreon and are in one of the tiers. Fiverr, are you still watching? If you are, I will go get the Hairfoot minis to show off because they're very whimsical and fun, which seems up your alley. If not, though, you'll see them eventually. I think we got this one. Let's just add a bit to the halberd, or a second coat as is tradition. Alright, just a little bit more onto the palette to get this last one silver done. The last one for this session, that is. Back to the one I just said I finished, though. I did miss just a little spot on the cape here. Oh, we got another one with the door knocker shoulder pad. I guess I just enjoyed it that much when I was assembling these. My parents asked me for a Christmas gift idea list. One of the things I put on there was on my mind recently was a compression glove for the hand cramps. Generally, like the holidays in my family, though, it's like you don't get everything on your list. The list is, you know, just like a suggestion document. I mean, ideally I can keep up the consistent painting like up until the holidays, so then if I do get some compression gloves, I'll have a good sense by then like how bad the hand cramps are when I'm like painting fairly consistently. You know, there's a balance to be struck somewhere. I just gotta test the limits and find it. When I was with a lot of the Gunpla painting, those ones are just like long projects. It's like once I get started, I don't really want to stop. So there's just a lot of like paint really hard for in a compressed amount of time, and then like stop painting for a while, like longer than I should, because I like the last one was so strenuous. But you know, when there's stuff like video deadlines integrated into there, that just makes the whole thing, managing the whole thing, a lot different. Yeah, looks like I mixed just the right amount of paint on the palette to last. So satisfying. Especially when you're so used to painting with the wet palette, when you're not painting with it, it feels like you're just constantly wasting paint. I just gotta do the legs on this guy. Should be able to just reactivate enough crusty paint on there to get the foot strap and knee pads done. Alright, let's grab the wet palette, why don't we? Gonna be going back to our old classic Game Color Magic Blue, the new formula. I could start with the Imperial Blue Dark Layer, but that's more for character models, or sometimes I go back and I'll re-glaze that in. And yes, we got the blue stripes on the pants and the blue loincloth, tabard, whatever you want to call it. Now, do we need to change the water to re-moisten the wet palette though? I'm not sure. Nah, this is looking pretty wet. In fact, maybe a little too wet. Let's grab a Kleenex. So as you can see, the brown that was on here from earlier is like touching the water at the edges, and we want to try and avoid contaminating the sponge. Alright. Alright, I'm gonna spice up the variety of this stream specifically a bit with some blue. Start with a fairly rough brush for the initial application, I think. Use the crappy brush for the grunt work, so to speak. An acronym for that? What, keeping the wet palette moist? Or variety? So I don't have a good enough memory for the things I just said to be sure what you're saying should be an acronym. This blue just applies so nicely. And this, I will definitely be reapplying this base color of blue after I do the like fur trim at the top and then the tassels here, and also block in the rest of the like white colors on the pants and such. I just really wanted to paint some blue, I guess. Painting blue, you know, blue, purple, green, red, just really fun colors to brush on. For me anyways. And, you know, with the chains and these little symbols at the bottom here, I am being fairly careful not to mess up those metallics I just did. We are coming off the poster tack a little bit on this painting handle though. Need a reset. And yeah, I don't even need a super precise brush for this part because I almost kind of just slide the bristles into the crevice, if that makes sense. You can get away with doing a lot with a pretty crappy brush. Pants. I painted like kind of stripes on the pants, but it's kind of on some of the leg sculpts it's kind of hard to tell where one color starts or ends, so I almost like free-handed the stripe on in a way. Which is like a bit annoying because like in a better sculpt you wouldn't have to figure out the lines for yourself. Again, I'll say first generation model syndrome. Whoops, got a bit of spill over there. Quick. It's probably cleaned up enough for now. I'm gonna do the leather strap behind the knee. That should tidy that up fine. Yes, I'm painting the inside of the cape in between the legs. That's always a bit tricky. But again, a lot of it's not visible, so you can kind of half-ass it in terms of a nice solid even base coat, so to speak. I will be going over this again with the darker blue for sure. I'll have to put in a lot more effort with the striped pantaloons on the Gilded Legion, because, you know, those are the same body sculpts, but they won't be wearing capes, so there's way more booty showing that we'll have to accentuate. Okay, maybe I should be using a cleaner brush, or more precise brush. Okay, we'll fix those up before the wash stage. That was some nice fun blue to paint though. Let's keep going. Yeah, these like metallic details at the bottom of this cape in particular. When I painted these this particular sculpt the last time, I remember a lot of like there's so much recessed detail that needs to be shaded that a lot of the metallic finishing is just gonna have to be done at the end. Nothing like a good cape for painting, that is. I kind of like agree with that, point made by the Incredibles years ago. It was like, capes are just a hazard. But, if you're part of the fancy household guard, you gotta have a cape. It's true, Hugo. Yeah, miniatures don't have to be animated for like the medium they exist in, so they can get away with lots of impractical stuff like capes. You don't see them moving around. Alright, I think I'm just gonna paint until I'm out of this blue currently on the palette, and then we'll be at a nice even 2 hours. Because, you know, it is a work night for me. That's 3 of 7. From tonight's batch, that is. I'm gonna air in the full batch that I want to finish before we're done with 100 Kingdoms for a while. I think there's... Ooh, there might be like 28 minis. I'm kind of gonna do it in... I'll probably do it in like 2 batches and then have a palette cleanser project of some kind in between. The Harefoot Jousters, perhaps. Either them or the 3 remaining Spartans I have. I hope the painting blue was a nice change of pace to watch as it is for you all compared to me painting it. That's my problem with like big batch painting or assembly line painting. It's like painting the same color over and over. It gets really tedious, so I often end up like switching to a different color before it's like, you know, the proper time to move on to the next one, just because I need the variety within that painting session. Oh, we might have enough paint to do this one and then the 2 remaining, at least for this initial blue blocking. This should be a nice spot to end the stream. Some nice jaunty tunes to close things off with. Huge glob of blue paint on the armor there. Can I scrub it all away? I think I can. Nice. Very good. Yeah, we'll still probably need to touch that up later. 'Tis no matter. If I wanted to squeeze out another 5 or 10 minutes after this blue's done, I suppose I could just put a bit of black on the palette and paint this halberd shafts. And that would do a lot to just make them look like, just paint a thing as simple as just painting the shaft of the halberd black, or, you know, whatever color you happen to have selected. That just creates a much more distinct outline for the weapon and like really does a lot to progress it towards completion, even though it's just one basic step. Yeah, all the areas I tend to mess up and get paint on, or all the gold areas I tend to like make mistakes onto, are areas where it's fine to just like clean it up with a quick little hit of that bronze, and I won't need to like also clean up the dry brushing part of it. It's subtle enough, I can get away with just saving the time and skipping that part of the cleanup. Yeah, it kind of feels like we have barely not just enough blue paint. So I might just add the teeniest dollop onto the wet palette here. Just a little bit to see me through. Yeah, to figure out the pant stripes, I kind of just start by slopping on all the blue, and then I'll carve out the proper stripes when I'm applying the gray base coat for the white later. Alright, we're officially past 2 hours now. Yeah, there's enough blue on the palette still. I'm just gonna slap a bit of paint on this here men-at-arms. We'll need a blue jacket eventually. Surprise, there's a non-halberd mini in this stream. As much as that song ending would be like the perfect spot to like slam the end stream button. I'm gonna keep going just for a few more minutes. I think I might do that thing I mentioned where I paint the shafts of the halberds. I think that'll be a nice way to wind down the stream. Cool, we got a bit of paint explosion. I think there's probably some other spots on these household guard minis that'll need black eventually. They're not coming to mind right away, so I will be worrying about that in a future painting session. It's like painting this part's pretty straightforward, but I still kind of want to, because it is like overall large, somewhat flat surface. So I don't want to goop the paint on too thick, because there might be a bit of undesirable texture showing. Just knocked over like 3 household guard while putting that one away. Oh, and one just fell on the floor. Let's just paint it off the handle for now. Ooh, excuse me. No more burps to the counter, that was a hiccup. But I am pretty pleased with setting a new record of 11 tonight. Hope that was as fun for you as it was for me. Yeah, I guess I could do the base rims black. I mean, not this. I gotta put this one back on the handle to do that. Yeah, we've already done the dry brushing and washing on the bases, so I might as well do the black base rims. Remember, the only acceptable base rim color is black, except for when it's goblin green. circle back to this one, get that base rim painted. I don't know how P3 Thamar Black holds up to like what the proper, which I hear the most neutral like baseline black that's readily available most places is model color black, I believe, from Vallejo. I don't know how well Thamar Black holds up to that, but for this project, it's like minute differences between different brands of blacks are not going to matter at all. Probably, can I? No, I'll keep using this brush. It's like I could use a slightly bigger one, but then painting around the hands will be a little annoying, I think. And maybe we'll even make it to 2 hours, 30 minutes. Maybe not. I don't know if I got 18 minutes painting left. Alright, number 4 of 7. Don't remember if I found out what the actual scale was, but I feel like the Halo Flashpoint minis were closer to like a Conquest scale of, you know, between 35 and 40 millimeter. You know, it wouldn't be surprising, because like I said before, it's like sort of a board game, but also sort of a minis game, so there's less incentive to adhere to the strict 28 millimeters. That's sort of standardized, not really. Alright, I think now it's time to just add a little bit more paint to the palette. Yeah, I think I'm pretty sure I was painting these same Household Guard models the last time I was streaming 100 Kingdoms, so perhaps for the rest of the 100 Kingdoms streams I'll focus more on the ones I haven't painted as much on stream. I'll make that decision when I decide when the next stream's gonna be. Really depends on how work goes tomorrow. Cause I don't know, tomorrow might be a have to go to the grocery store night, we'll see. It's also Taco Tuesday. Always a temptation, week by week. Yeah, grocery store trip good, but also a trip to just get dirt cheap tacos prepared by someone else is also good. Ideally, I can do both. And then super ideally, I can do both and stream, but we'll see. Perhaps it'd be better to have a day in between the streams, so the next day for streaming could be Wednesday. Do Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Maybe that's my ideal streaming schedule. Start of the week, Monday can be midday. Wednesday can be later in the evening. Friday could be morning, but I don't know, it is, you know, me, I'm always tempted to just keep it nice and elusive and be like, I'm gonna stream, let's give people like a 30-minute warning. Today was a bit different though, I gave like I think a 5-hour warning with my Instagram countdown. Hello Hellcat64, thanks for coming. You just catching the end of this session, or I'm painting the shafts and the base rims, but yes, they're very gold. And it's an ironic gold because we're using Vallejo model color bronze, which looks a lot more like a gold than a bronze. This one is shafted. Time to get rimmed. A redirect link from the Noontimes paint stream. Well, my Wednesday stream probably wouldn't be till like later in the evening. If I got my shit together enough to like be able to tell you ahead of time when I'm streaming on Wednesday, I'll try to remember to let you know. There's an extremely non-committal answer for you, I'm sorry. I appreciate the offer though. Just one left, but it looks like there's enough black on the palette I'd probably use it up on some of the men-at-arms. Oh, you're more of a burrito lover? It's hard to beat just the beauty of a burrito. There's no day of the week that starts with a B, though. Can't have burrito batter day, you know? Yeah, if you ended at 3 PST, I still wouldn't be able to stream until like 3 or 4 hours after that, probably. Ooh, there's a nub I definitely didn't clean up on this shaft. It's the back-facing part of the shaft, though, so I think I might just leave it. Keep it a secret. Bone day, booze day, beds day. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, I just needed that never give up attitude there from you. I mean, there's a lot of different stuff you can put in a burrito, so like, I could totally see having a week where it's just like, oops, all burritos, but you know, it doesn't have to be the same burrito every day. But hey, if that works for you, I won't yuck your yum, as they say. Dang, we are probably gonna hit 2.5 hours. Time just flies when you're painting a regiment. Alright, there's enough black on the palette. I'm just gonna apply some to some parts on the men-at-arms that I know will need them eventually. And if you're wondering, in this batch there are 3 men-at-arms. Or, sorry, 4. One of them's like a bit of a character kit batch, though. You know, because it ain't a Mayhem army without some of those. We, of course, haven't done the metallic dry brushing or anything on these yet, so we're gonna be doing a pass to clean up the gold anyways, so it's okay if I spill over a bit. Alright. Well, we'll be just under 2 hour 30 minutes. I think that's still the longest stream since coming back. And yeah, I'll say tentatively there might be a bonus stream tomorrow. If not, we'll do at least one more stream this week, likely Friday or Saturday. And yeah, thanks for coming, everyone who watched tonight. I hope to see you at the next one, and I hope you all have been having a great start to your week and a great rest of the week. And yeah, I'll be posting on the social medias with as much advance notice as I reasonably can for the next stream, and for me that might be shortly before the stream. I have an endless supply of things to paint though, so the streams will be similarly endless. That's the ideal outcome anyways. Okay, I'm glad I could help you get through your editing, Country Fried Minis. And I just seen your comment about the Weaver carts and Dinos Hellcat, very nice. Hope you have fun with those. Okay, I'll say goodbye for real now. Have a good one, everyone.